y'all. Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of Miami. This is season 5, episode 16, and the end of the season. So I know a lot of people don't consider like the last episode the end of the season. I see some people consider the end of like the reunion the end of the season, but I consider it like the semi-end of the season. You know, if you don't watch the reunion, technically it's the end for you because you did watch the whole entire like series, but you know, you ain't see the follow-up. But let's get into it. So let's get a little spicy before we get into this review. So the first thing we're going to talk about is this Tamron Hall and Larsa Pippen's interview. I think the segment was supposed to be finding love in weird places or finding love in different places. Either way, it was supposed to be about Larsa being with Marcus Jordan. And honestly, Tamron Hall was doing too much. She was doing too much. And mind you, I'm not an avid watcher of talk shows. So like I wasn't into The Real. I'm not really into The View. I wasn't into The Talk. Like I watched Wendy Williams' show, but that was like when I would get my hair braided or get my nails done, and it was like midday or early morning. Like it wasn't something I actively sought out to do. And then like, you know, when Oprah and all of that stuff, because that's kind of what Tamron Hall gives me, is like an Oprah, Montel Jordan kind of vibes. That was based off of my granny. Like she would watch that in the morning, but me as a kid, I wasn't watching that with her. I would just see it, watch it, take my food, and go somewhere else. So normally I feel like when people do these types of interviews, they're supposed to be like impartial and give this sense of like a safe space, but Tamron Hall gave very much judgy. And I know some people felt like, well, she was asking the questions that we all wanted to know, but to me she wasn't, because if the segment was supposed to be about love and stuff, why are you bringing up Real Housewives of Miami? And she kept bringing up Dr. Nicole and how can Larsa and her move forward. And what it felt to me is that Tamron Hall watches Real Housewives of Miami and Dr. Nicole is like her favorite. So she was just like, girl, I got questions. I got questions. So I was just like, yeah. And then she kept trying to bring in the whole situation between Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, which I didn't know that they didn't like each other. Like the way they were talking about it, it seemed like they really don't like each other. Like they got a disdain for one another. And mind you, I'm not into sports, but I do know who pivotal like players are. So like I thought they was cool, but I guess not. And Larsa was just like, what does this have to do with like what we're talking about? And they were trying to circle it back. Well, you were around him when he was a kid and like it's weird. And Larsa was just like, not really. Like I met him like once and that was it. And she was like, we met when we were friends, and like me and him have been friends for a while, and one of my friends introduced me to him because he wanted to talk to me. So, and I think that's the thing that gets me with this relationship. Larsa is like 48 or 49 and Marcus Jordan is like 31, 32. It would be totally different to me, and I would be singing a different tune if Marcus was like 21, 22 and she was still like 48, 49. I'd be like, yeah, that's weird. That's weird as hell. But to me, it's like he's in his 30s. She's in her late 40s, almost 50s. And you can't just look at her. You have to look at him, because if he knew her when he was younger, then why is he seeking out to date her? And they're both well within that age range where I'm just like, okay, 31, 48. That's a huge gap. I think they're like 16 years apart, or maybe more. Is it 16? Either way, you know, that's a big number for them to be apart, but it's like, it's not too big to where I'm looking at her like she need to be on somebody's watch list, you know, because I'm also looking at him like, well, why are you trying to date her? And you know, your dad doesn't like her husband or her ex-husband. So I just was kind of like, it didn't make sense for them to keep circling the conversation back to Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen when the whole segment was supposed to be about like love and her relationship. That's just my thoughts. And so the last thing we're going to talk about before we get into the review is this screenshot that was taken off of Lennys' page that everybody was like annoyed by and frustrated by, because the commenter asked, I just want to know, has your mom warmed up to her? Lenny asks the person and it says she has. And then the girlfriend comes down and she says she's one of my favorite people on the earth. And everybody was like, yeah, F Lenny's mama. And I was just like, kind of like, y'all, what did y'all expect? Like, of course, eventually she was gonna come around to her son because it seems like her mom is. It seems like Lenny's mom has nothing of her own. That she's only in this country because he probably like affords her that opportunity with the funds and the dividends. So I knew this was gonna happen, but I think it's very bold for the girlfriend and him to like confirm this. They don't care no more. That's why I told Lisa, get everything you can from him and more. But let's get into this review. Okay, y'all. So the episode opens up where we're still having the continuation of the conversation between Lenny's mom and Lisa. And a lot of people were upset about how this lady did a 180 so quickly compared to like the beginning of the season till now. And I'm like, why are y'all shocked? Like, why are y'all shocked? You know, honestly, she was gonna do that anyway. I was surprised it didn't happen sooner. For one, that's her son, and for two, it doesn't give like she has any money of her own, and it looks like Lenny has been taking care of her, and she's able to live the lifestyle that she's living because of her son. If we're gonna be all the way 100, Lenny's mom gives, I don't have an education and I immigrated to this country with my husband. And, you know, no shade to her because she could be an astrophysicist and I just don't know. But it's giving that she was really like a traditional like woman where she migrated or immigrated to this country. No, it's immigrated because migrated, you're staying in the same area, you know, staying in the same country. Immigrated. She immigrated to this country and her husband got a job and she still was at home taking care of Lenny. I don't think Lenny has any siblings. But, you know, being a homemaker, I don't know, she could have got a job, but it's giving like it wasn't enough for them to have the lifestyle that Lenny provides them. So I wasn't surprised when she decided like to start blaming Lisa and being like, Lisa, you were doing this, this, and this. So of course he was going to be this way. You pushed him away and yada, yada, yada. Because I don't think her or her husband was ready to what Lenny gave them when Lenny cussed them out and kicked them out the house. And I think it's reality set in when they were like, oh crap, we're not going to be able to live the life that we have because we don't got no money like that. Like, that's my thing. That's why I tell people, it's okay for you to live the soft life if that's what you want to do, but don't be no dummy. If he's giving you like a stipend or you get money somehow, some way, put that in a separate account that they don't know about. And this is for men, women, and everybody in between that the money dynamics ain't the same. Take that money, put it in a separate account so when they try to financially abuse you, you are good to go. Because this is what this is right here. Because I'm like, I know his mom knows what he's doing is wrong, but she knows that if she goes along with Lisa, she ain't gonna have nothing pretty much. Because Lenny is giving like, I will cut you off, I will cut you out of my life, and that will be it, and I will feel nothing. I will feel nothing. And I think the mom knows that, probably the daddy too, and probably was like, we gonna have to do something. We gonna have to do a 180. But my only thing is like, don't push Lisa so far away that you don't have a relationship with your grandkids. Because Lisa's giving like, these are my kids. Play with me if you want to. So I hope grandma and grandpa know, play the game right, because you might not get nothing. You might be rich or be living off of your son's like money, but you might not have a relationship with your grandkids, or vice versa. You might have a relationship with your grandkids, but you might not have a relationship. That's toxic. Ooh, that's toxic. That's toxic. That's toxic. That's so toxic. We did see a scene with Gertie and Larsa where they're like at this cute little restaurant and they're pretty much talking about what happened in the Bahamas, like how they haven't seen each other for like almost a week and how everyone needed a break because it was too much going on. We find out that party that Gertie was setting up or scouting locations for is for the end of the season's rap party, but pretty much saying this is, what does she call it? Like a melting pot party where she's like, Miami is a melting pot, but we're all bad bees and we come from different backgrounds and I just want us to come together. Larsa tells her like, girl, that might not happen. That definitely might not happen because Marisol and Alexia ain't ready to really be in the same room with her, but we'll see. We then have this scene where Adriana goes and meets with Emilio. Is it Esteban? Yeah, it's Esteban. Let me look at my notes, y'all. Yeah, Emilio Estefan. So I know, like, I didn't know him, but I know his wife, Gloria Estefan, because I've heard her music. So I think it's wonderful that Adriana is able to work with someone who has, like, who's Grammy nominated, well, awarded and probably nominated as well. And then to see all those plaques on his wall, I said, you better show your work. I said, all of these are yours, sir. Well, not all of them. You know, he's helped with them because we know his wife is also Grammy awarded and nominated. So I was like, come on with it, okay? And then we find out that he's worked with J-Lo, Shakira, and Celia Cruz. And like, I just got into her because, you know, I wasn't, if I can't understand, well, I can't even say that because I be listening to Korean and K-pop and I don't know the words to that. But, I've just started to broaden my palette with like Spanish and Latin music, and I've really gotten into her. So I'm just like, that's amazing. Like, that's totally amazing that Adriana is like in this type of environment. And it also lends to like what she was saying, that like she is taking this seriously, because I don't think like he would want, like, I don't think Emilio Estefan would be like trying to talk to Adriana on some play stuff. I think he would really be like, okay, if you're coming here, you're coming here to work. I think she said in her green screen that, he heard her and he said like, you just need development, because I could give you something, but you need development. They played a song. I ain't really like it, but then he was like, it's a demo, and I know demo music ain't really the same. But I was like, okay, Adriana, like, I'll give you that. You really are trying to do something with this. And I feel like anybody nowadays can be of a certain age and still make it big. Like, so many people are like, we're confronting all these different types of isms, like ageism, colorism, like racism, classism. It's a lot of isms. But especially for Adriana to be like 56, a lot of people will probably be like, what's the point? Like, no one wants to hear music from a 56-year-old. But it's like, there's a demographic for that. There are people who will probably be definitely interested in it. And her song didn't sound that bad. I mean, would it be my vibe? Miami's hot? No, it wouldn't. But that doesn't mean she shouldn't take the opportunity, especially when it's something like this, being in rooms and in circles with these types of people, and run with it. So I hope she does find like a song that becomes like a really good hit for her. And like, at BravoCon, she on the mic giving it to the girl. I hope she gives her song. But that was a cute scene. So let's move on. The next scene we see is of Marisol and Alexia going to Lisa's house. And I thought it was a cute scene when they were upstairs in the playroom playing with the kids. And you could tell that the kids are used to them because they didn't even flinch. They kept playing and they weren't even like distracted by them. So it's like, okay, they're comfortable with them. Excuse me. We then see a scene where they go sit down on the couch, but before then, they went into that like winery room, and like Lisa's like, let's drink out the most expensive bottle. And then she was like, you know what? Let's open all the bottles. And I was like, yeah, that's some petty like, I would do that. I would be an asshole and open all these bottles. Don't even matter if I like them, just so you can't have them or they won't taste good to you. So they sit down on the couch. They talk about Lenny. They thought Lenny was going to be there because he gets off of work around like 5:30, 5 o'clock. And it was like 6 something. But Lisa was like, no, I told him not to come. And you saw Marisol and Alexia being like, girl, where he at? Like, because they were like, girl, we be talking trash about him. Like, it's whatever. So, they start talking, and Lisa says, Adriana tasked me with helping bridge the gap between the three of y'all. And they're pretty much like, nah. We find out that Marisol used to be in Lisa's position where she was always going between people and being like, Adriana is not a bad person. Adriana's a good person. Adriana's this and that. But Marisol's whole thing is like, that whole boyfriend comment wasn't needed. Like, she said that to hurt me. She said that to be mean to me. So why should I forgive her? Like, because you went out your way to be nasty towards me. And then Alexia's whole thing is like, girl, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't care if she's lonely. I don't know. Like, she said something about my kid. I don't know. So then we get this scene with Julia and Martina, which makes me feel like this whole empty nest syndrome thing was like a storyline, or it was a storyline and Julia just like amped it up because y'all were able to like put a little cute bow on it and move forward. When sis, you were like sobbing about not having anyone at the house with you and treating Martina like trash. And now all of a sudden y'all are good to go. And I was just like, okay, Julia, okay. So then we get this scene with Nicole and her dad. And it was very like interesting and also eye-opening because her therapist friends comes over. They sit down and they have the conversation. And, you know, Nicole starts crying right off the bat. Like, as the conversation continues, she starts crying. And the therapist is asking the dad, like, you know, and the dad's pretty much like, I think I'm great. Scratch that. I think I'm fantastically, amazingly great. He's like, even when I have my faults, like, I still think I'm great. He was like, I've changed over the past 10 or 15 years. Nicole is glaring at him like, really? You really think you've changed? Because he said, what I used to be, I'm not anymore. So I'm better. Okay, I am better. And then the therapist is really doing her job. She was like, well, like, what do you feel about Nicole? And he's like, no, I think she's wonderful. I write down my feelings to her because I feel like I can get them out better. I think she's smart. I'm glad that she's my daughter. I'm so proud of the way she has moved in life. She's wonderful. But the therapist says, well, have you ever said you're sorry? And this is when I was like, maybe I'm toxic. Maybe I was like, is the daddy a Capricorn? Because it got quiet. And the therapist stopped talking. And he was like, you want me to say sorry now? And I said, yeah, do you want him to say sorry now? Why? I was like, I'm not going to say sorry because you want me to say sorry. And the daddy was like, oh, I'm not going to do that. I was like, oh, I might be toxic. Because I was with the daddy. I was like, I'm not going to apologize to you. Like, I'm not saying sorry. I'm just not, because I'm prompted. Like, you want me to apologize? Like, I'm not doing that, bro. I was like, the daddy said, oh, I'm not doing that. So then this is when when I said like the conversation became like eye-opening or insightful is he tells this story about how it was his day to be with the kids, or like he decided to take the kids out. It was Nicole, her brother, and he took them out of the car, and I guess they were at a park, and Nicole was looking for her dad. I guess she didn't see him, and like kids do, they go looking for their parents. She walks around the car and she gets hit by a car. And you could tell that it's like a shame for the dad because he immediately wells up. And he was like, she got hit by the car. He was like, I was already living a dangerous lifestyle because we know he went to jail. He was just like, every time they were with me, something bad happened, or I felt like something bad was going to happen. So I pulled back. And the therapist was like, wow, like what you felt like you did was selfless. Like you felt like being away from your kids was going to keep them safe, versus how Nicole took it where she felt abandoned. And I was like, oh, wow. I was happy for Nicole because I feel like she even said like, maybe that will help me get rid of some of the resentment and anger I have towards him, because it wasn't like he abandoned y'all. Like he did abandon them, but it wasn't just because like, I want to go live this fast lifestyle. It was like, I felt like every time I was around, y'all were in danger. So I had to pull back. Because even if you think about it, even if the dad stopped being in that lifestyle, stop drinking or partying, it doesn't mean the people that he wronged wasn't going to try to hurt his family. Like that's it. Like it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't mean like they still would not be in danger. That's why we got witness protection. But it doesn't mean like they wouldn't be hurt. Like she wouldn't be hurt anymore, or like his family wouldn't be in danger. So I think together he was just like, let me pull all the way back. So like there's no connection, so nobody would hurt them. But I did think it was like crazy how like the perspective, like you as a child perceive what your parent doing as abandonment, while they perceive it as no, I'm protecting you because I love you. And it's just crazy, you know. As a kid, it's hard to understand certain things when you're a child because you are looking to this adult who's your parent to like love, protect you, teach you, and always be there. So when they abruptly stop being there, it's like your whole world kind of just crashes down, and then you're left to fend for yourself and make up your own assumptions about what they did. And that's basically what she's been doing. So I hope they continue therapy together, because this seemed like it was a great like insight, because she was really like shocked. Like her eyes got big. Like she was just like, oh wow. Like she never thought that he like like was distanced from them, from her family to protect them. She always just thought like he wanted to go out there. And that partly could be true. That partly like he wanted to live that lifestyle, but it seems on his part, because I think he was genuine when he started crying, because it don't seem like her dad is a crier. He seems like he's one of those machismo kind of dudes. I think he meant his feelings when he said no, like she got hit by a car. Like I didn't feel like I could be trusted with my kids, you know? So we then see this scene with Alexia and Frankie where they're cooking, and it was sweet. It's sweet. I'm glad Alexia is starting to like let go of the reins with Frankie, because she needs to realize, and I'm glad it clicked for her, that like if she's not here, who has Frankie? And in this world, he's gonna need to know how to do some things for himself, so he's not taken advantage of, and that he can live the best life that he can. So I thought it was cute to see him cooking, and she's cooking with him, showing him how to use a can opener. We see her teaching him how to do his own laundry. I was like, those are things that are really important. Like people who don't have those elements, me included, you would not think that was like that big of a deal. But then you think about it, like those types of things, like cooking for yourself, cleaning for yourself, is really important to sustain a healthy lifestyle, because you don't want your clothes piling up because you ain't gonna have no clothes. You don't want your house to be dirty because that crowds like other diseases and other animals, and you need to feed yourself to sustain living. So it's just like those things are important. So I'm glad that the Demoya Foundation reached out to her, and that she is taking what they're saying to heart, and she's actively trying to like give him his space to learn and grow. We then see this scene with Frankie and his daddy, and I was just like, I didn't care about this scene. It just shows how much of an entitled dickhead that Peter is. It just, because why does your dad have to explain to you, the one that's been locked up had to explain to you that your mom needs help because she's taking care of Frankie? Why does something, and if you want to run over to Puerto Rico with your girlfriend, run to Puerto Rico with your girlfriend. I promise you, they will kick you out real quick too. Like, because Peter gives, I'm entitled and I'm an asshole. He gives that. He's always given that since he was a kid. Since he was like a kid. So it's just like, why does someone have to explain to you to help your mom out? Well, your mom has helped you out. Even with that whole situation with your girlfriend. Like, your mom has gone out her way to like help you, and you can't help her. He's trash. He's trash. I don't like him. So let's move on to the melting pot party. And everything looks great. Like, Gertie was getting on my nerves, but it was nice to see her in her element. The way she was like, no, this needs to be here. This needs to be here. I need you to do this. And it shows like she about her business, and I love it. The party looked great. I loved all the different colors the girls were wearing. Like I told y'all, I love that Miami is so colorful. I love it. So we have a scene where Adriana and, no, it wasn't Adriana. It was Larsa. Let me look at my notes. No, Larsa, Gertie, and Julia. And pretty much Larsa was just like, what Adriana did was wrong. Julia was like, well, she's lonely and she's broken. And I'm looking at Julia and Gertie because they keep telling everyone that Adriana is broken and lonely. And if I was Adriana, I would be annoyed by that. I would low-key be offended that, like, why in the way, like, why when you need to defend me, you need to tell people I'm broken and lonely? Why do you need to constantly tell people that? We then see Adriana get there. Larsa's being fake, giving this girl compliments to the point of annoyance and giving her attention. But Larsa's whole thing is like, this is what you wanted. You want us to give you attention. So I'm giving you attention. And I was kind of crazy that I agreed with Larsa when Larsa was like, you know what? Tell us your problems instead of giving us your pain. And that's true. All Adriana does is give people her pain. And then she's like, listen to my problems. Girl, what? I'm not doing that. I'm not going to listen to your problems after you like insult me or try to tear me down because you mad about your life. I'm not doing that. I'm just not doing that. So they try to talk to Alexia about, because they look at the seating arrangements for the table, and the way Gertie has everyone placed is so they could all have conversations together, like across from people that they don't really see it for. And Alexia's like, it's cool. I just don't want to be around her. Like, I don't like, and they're talking about her music, and Alexia's like, no. And she said it to Adriana's face. I'll give Alexia that. She be being a dick, but she'll say it to your face. And she's like, your song is great. I just think you're an asshole. I can give you props. Your song is great, but I think you're an asshole. And I laughed. They all sit down. The food looks good. The vibe is vibing. They even had a self serve cocktail thing, kind of like an ice cream tart. I was like, oh, that's lit. Gertie did her thing with this one. She had everyone's names. The is it LED? Whatever. She had the everyone's names when they walked in. I thought that was cool. Like, she showed why she is an event planner that everybody wants, that everyone loves to book, because she knows how to throw an event. She knows how to throw an event. So they sit down at the table. They all pretty much disrespected Gertie. I got annoyed for Gertie because Gertie was trying to give a toast and nobody was listening to her. Like, everyone was talking over her, talking around her. And like, some people tried to be like, it was just Alexia and Marisol, but it was like, no, the whole table was disrespecting her because everyone was eating, talking. No one was listening to her, even though they asked her to like give a speech. It didn't make sense. Even though they asked that girl to give a speech. So she's trying to give a speech about how, like, you know, we're all bad girls. We all have our things. Then out of nowhere, Gertie starts to cry. She's like, and Adriana, you're broken. You're a good person. And mind you, you guys, when Gertie did that, I was not looking at my iPad, when I was like watching the show. I was like on my phone doing something, and then I hear her like, Adriana, and I was like, what? And I look up and I'm like, why is she about to have a breakdown? I'm confused. I was so confused. I was like, Gertie, what is going on? What is going on? That's why people think she fake. Because why were you about to have a moment? There was no need for that. That came off so fake. So Adriana stands up and she's trying to like apologize. Like, I think this apology was her trying to be sincere. And Alexia is like, girl, you've been my friend even before the Frankie accident. So it's like, you know how hard it's been for me. And for you to say that, like, I don't know. I don't know if I could be cool with you like that. And then she was like, I don't know why. Adriana was like, I don't know why I said it. I was having a mental breakdown. And Marisol was like, I call BS. I call BS because you said what you said about the whole boyfriend thing to hurt me. Like, there was no reason for you to say that. There was no reason for you to say that other than to hurt me. And a lot of people are like, well, Marisol's in another relationship. Why should she care? And I think the reason why she cares, or the way I would care if I was Marisol, is like, even though I'm in another relationship, you held on to this, and then when we got into it, you threw it out as a dig. Like, even if it didn't hurt me, I would look at you funny. Where I would be like, do you even really like me? Because why was you holding on to that? Because if you were really my friend, you would have been like, girl, you know, your man reached out to me and made a joke about it. But the fact that you were angry and you threw it out and be like, he never loved you, Marisol. It was mean. It was mean. And I don't get why y'all don't want to say Adriana is mean because you don't like Marisol or Adriana or Alexia. When it's like, if you watch seasons 1 through 3, Adriana was a dick. Even Alexia and Marisol was a dick. So it's like 3 people who are insufferable. It's like, I'm not going to take the side of any of them. And it's also like, I can understand from everyone's point of view. I can understand why Adriana said what she said, because she's like, y'all been treating me like trash and my feelings are hurt. So I'm going to hurt your feelings the way I feel like y'all are hurting mine. I can understand Alexia being like, well, girl, what does that have to do with anything for you to mention my son and try to compare you like falling, getting fell on, and your foot getting bruised to my son being in a car accident that almost took his life, and you know how hard I've been struggling with it. So you saying accidents happen, like you should know, it's F you. Cause what were you trying to say? And then for Marisol, it's like, well, me and you wasn't even on that level. Like, we were having a conversation and you throwing it out there trying to say that that's loyalty. And then when I find out that no, you reached out to him, that makes you look sus to me. And I know you said that to hurt me. So why would I accept your apology? Because I didn't like Adriana being like, I'm disappointed that Marisol didn't accept my apology. We've been saying this from the beginning of time. You can apologize, but the person does not have to accept your apology. You should be giving an apology because you know you hurt someone and you feel bad that you hurt them and you are being accountable for what you did to that person. So I'll give Adriana a point for trying to apologize, but then she always messes it up because why are you blaming what you said on ADD? ADD doesn't make you a dick. ADD, it doesn't. it is like what, like even if it did, that still doesn't give you an onus to be mean to people. It's just weird to me that nobody wants to like tell Adriana that she's wrong, and everyone's like, well, Marisol and and Alexia are just holding on to it because they don't want to be friends with her. Okay, they don't want to be friends with her, but what she said was wrong. It was mean. It was malicious. Like, give her that. It was mean and it was malicious, and y'all just don't want to let it go because y'all don't like the other two. That's stupid to me. It is. I'm sorry. It's stupid. It's stupid. So Marisol pretty much says no. I don't know. I'm not going to give you that because I've had a mental breakdown and I was never nasty to anybody. She was like, you need to take a vow, sit in your house and not speak to anyone for a year and think about what you said. And then Marisol was like, y'all want us to be cool? This is the way I'm going to be cool, because if I don't get out how I feel or say what I want to say, then we're not going to be cool, because she knows that. She knows that. So she needs to understand that. I said shenanigans. So then Lisa stands up and she brings everyone back together, where she pretty much says, I don't think Adriana is a bad person. I know what she did was wrong. But you guys all have rallied around me. So I could not think you guys are horrible people. Like, I love and I appreciate all your support from all of y'all. And then, everyone's like, oh, and they toast. Then what's her name? Gertie tries to say something, but they really weren't paying attention to her. They really don't be paying attention to Gertie. So they end up taking like an end of the year cast photo, which was cute because all them colors be coloring. They look good. They do the end of the season cards. We find out that Adriana, Alexia, and Marisol still ain't talking, but Adriana's still working with Emilio Estefan. Marisol is now doing trying to do her own drink line, which probably will work for her. Who else? Oh, Alexia and Todd went on their honeymoon. Oh, we found out about Martina having stage 1, I think it was throat cancer. We found out that her and Julia went backpacking together, and that was cute. But I do hope Martina gets better. Like, I hope she's able to beat cancer again, because I didn't know she survived breast cancer, so I hope she's able to beat this. Who else, y'all? Oh, we find out that Nicole and Anthony sold their home, which I think they bought for $14 million, for $44 million to Jeff Bezos' mom. I don't know, y'all. Something about that is weird. Like, I don't have a problem with them moving, but it feels like they've been moving every season. Now, we get back to season 3, not season 3, well, it would be season 6. If you get to season 6 and they move again at the end of season 6, I'm going to start feeling like y'all trying to outrun the IRS. Because why are we moving from home to home? Now, $40 million ain't nothing to sneeze at. So I'm glad they were able to flip that profit because they spent $14 million to $40 million. But I'm like, why are we moving every time? Y'all move every year. It's weird. It's a little weird. I got my eye on y'all. And then the show ends with Lisa. So Lisa and Lennys co-hosted their annual Halloween party, which I was like, Lisa, why? Why would you do that? Because then we see a article that was posted that Lennys told Page 6 that Lisa was being real romantic at a holiday bash, which I'm like, why does that matter when you kicking her out the house and you want a divorce? You filed for divorce, sir. So she calls him on the phone and basically cusses him out, and he told her, leave him alone. I said, girl, you better take him for everything and then some, because he is too comfortable with disrespecting Lisa. Too comfortable. So that's where the season ended. I think this season was actually really good. I would give it a B+. Everyone's always giving Miami an A, but I don't think it was A worthy because some things I felt was dumb. But all in all, like Miami has delivered twice. I don't think they should change the cast. I think this is a good cast and they can grow upon this. But yeah, they bring what we want Housewives to bring. They bring it. They bring fun. They bring drama. They bring real stories. And for that, like, I can give y'all a solid B+. A solid B+. Like, well, I'll give you an A. I'll give y'all a 90, the lowest A. Because my thing about it is, Housewives has never hit for me like it used to hit back in the day with like the early seasons of Atlanta, but Miami gives that kind of vibe where it's lighthearted. They say some things and they keep it pushing. I'm hoping it doesn't change with the fandom because a lot of people don't like Alexia and Marisol, and everyone's caping for Adriana, and they feel like it's time for them to leave and just keep the cast the way it is without them. But I think the cast needs all three of them because they bring the drama. But I think this was a good season. So yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic and hop down in them comments below. Deuces.